Hello everyone, welcome to the Green Man channel. This is the third ever live stream that we've done now on this channel. So I feel like I'm doing these roughly every 3 months or so. I don't think I would do them more than that as such, certainly not when the channel's quite small. So I only do these on a kind of now and then basis. I thought it was a good time to do one because it's sort of like we've got the last quarter of 2025 left, the last 3 months to go of the year before we move into 2026, which is kind of scary. The years just get quicker and quicker. But yes, so we're going to be talking about some upcoming content, some exciting content we've got between now and the end of the year. Also, as well as that, going to be talking a bit about my choices for my Desert Island discs. So, you know what that is. If you don't know the concept of Desert Island discs, if you got stranded on a desert island, you could only choose 5 albums to take with you, you know, to pretty much have with you forever or the rest of your time on the desert island. What albums would you pick? You know, and for me, those kind of albums have got to have a great deal of replay value. You're going to have a lot of replay value because you're going to be relying on them as music, as your only music, whilst you're stranded on a desert island, presumably with no one else. I'm guessing there's no one else around. Maybe there is. Maybe you're lucky. Maybe you have a desert island with some company. But yeah. So upcoming content. We're actually a touch early, so I'm a minute or two before I actually said the live stream would go live. I think I said we'd go live at 9 UK time. Actually, just a minute to go still, so we might get a couple of people on board. Something I actually want to do as well is get the chat messages appearing on the screen, but I think that will cost me. It looks like it costs a fair bit of money to get that feature. So yeah, maybe if I have some money to spare, I might move to that. But perhaps not at the moment. I have spent quite a lot of money this year already, so just trying to be a tiny bit more careful. That said, I'm spending loads of money on music, so yeah, maybe I could. I don't know. So yeah, upcoming content on the Green Man, and I'm pretty excited about what we've got coming up. First of all, we've got the top 10 pop albums video on Tuesday. When I did my poll, I wasn't expecting, you know, the vast majority to say yes. I wondered if, you know, given most of my subs are metalheads, whether people would be interested in that kind of video. But apparently, a lot of you want to see my favorite pop albums of all time. So you're going to see that on Tuesday. Tricky list to come up with because as much as I do love pop music, it isn't really a go-to thing for me. And, you know, there's been a lot of more recent, I guess, pop is something that I was much more exposed to and aware of the albums in the charts in the sort of late 90s and 2000s era. That was kind of my generation's era of pop music. I guess once you got into the 2010s, I started to dip out of pop music pretty much almost completely. I wasn't really aware of albums coming out then. And actually, until I started doing this channel, I started to dive a bit more into pop, but I guess mostly independent pop stuff, indie pop. So, yeah, that was what I was basically, that's been my most exposure. I haven't listened to a lot of pop, I guess more recent. Actually, I say that in preparation for that video, I've listened to loads of pop music recently. I've been exploring stuff I've got in my library, in my collection. Lots of some really good stuff. So it was quite good fun in the end, and maybe I'm on a mini kind of pop trip at the moment, which sort of feels like the first one I've done in a while where I've genuinely delved into a lot of mainstream pop stuff to do that video. And yeah, it's been a very interesting experience revisiting certain albums, which you're going to see on Tuesday. I would reveal those 10 albums here, but I think that would kind of spoil the video. That would spoil Tuesday's video. You can actually see 3 of the albums that I've chosen in the thumbnail as well. Anyway, if you're curious as to 3 of my choices. So yeah, hopefully if you voted for that episode, it will be up on Tuesday at this time at 9 p.m. UK time, the usual Dark Horse Discs slot. On that topic, we've got more Dark Horse Discs to come. I think at least 3 more episodes to come because we've still got JC's choice, the Kiss Creatures of the Night choice to do. We've still got Rocco's choice, which is a Pat Benatar record. And we've got a Christmas special, which I've just been talking about pop music. I'm about to talk about it again because the Christmas special is pop music themed. We're doing a Pop Queen's Dark Horse Disc special, where basically we each choose an underappreciated record, or we think a record that is underappreciated from a particular pop queen. And the idea is it's a surprise. So we're supposed to sort of keep it as a surprise until the video is premiered, whenever that may be. That video is probably going to be going up in, I think, in December or around Christmas time. Maybe I don't want to make people wait too long. Maybe it'll be sometime in early mid-December. That one will go up, and that'll be the special kind of Dark Horse Discs episode. And then the series is done for now, but it'll come back at some point in the new year. And yeah, it's been a fun series so far. We've had some good episodes. Really like some really good albums, actually. I mean, revisiting some of these albums, like the Nirvana Bleach album was a joy to revisit. The Trivium album, I was surprised at how much I enjoyed that one, going back to that one. What were the other ones we've done? The Anthrax record, great album, 2003 album. The Korn record, another 2003 one, Take a Look in the Mirror. We had Brady on for that one. It was great to have him on. And that was really good. That was really good, actually. Fun. It's not a great album, that one, but it's just a lot of fun. It like replay value factors into the Korn Take a Look in the Mirror. I feel like it was one of the last really great albums from the sort of 2000s era. Yeah, I don't think we've had anyone come on board just yet, so maybe not the best of times on a Saturday to do a live stream. Everyone's out and about socializing, as you should be. So, other upcoming content. I am aware one of my highly anticipated albums of the year has just come out, has just dropped. That being Testament. I do want to try and review that record. I'm unlikely to get to it this weekend because I'm doing the live stream now. I haven't listened to the album yet even. I've got to give it a chance to listen to it. And I'm at a film festival for most of tomorrow in London, so I'm not going to be able to probably get around to a review of New Testament. Of the New Testament. That sounds interesting saying that. So yeah, I mean, I will hopefully get to reviewing that album. It just won't be this weekend. It'll be maybe during the week. I'm also looking forward to a couple of indie releases, a couple of non-metal releases. New Xanius, and she's a sort of electro pop artist. She's pretty good. Really enjoy her singing, and liked her last record, or her last two albums, I think, were pretty good. Particularly 2023's Chrysalis, amazing record, that one. New Hatchie's coming out. Licorice, November 7th, I think, or certainly early November. I've been looking forward to that for a long time, since the 2022 album came out. So it feels like it's been a while, but it's only been 3 years. That's not that long for a gap between records. Certainly not exactly a super long wait, like the Tool records are usually. You have to wait about 13 years. New Hatches. I'm quite looking forward to that. I heard the singles. I have to say the first single I liked, but actually I'm not sure it's like blown me away the way the singles did on her last record. But it's good. It sounds like she's kind of going Keepsake sort of direction. Like that was her first album. That was very shoegazy. So she's kind of going, I think, back to a shoegazy sound for her new album, which is fine by me. So New Hatchie. I'm not sure actually. I mean, I feel like my album of the year this year, before we talk about Desert Island Discs, which I've got here ready, I've got all my CDs and my Desert Island Discs ready to go. But the odd thing about this year at the moment, the odd thing is that I feel like my album of the year is still very much an open-ended thing. Normally by October, certainly in my time on YouTube doing The Green Man, I've normally have made up my mind by now about my album of the year, but this year it still feels like it's very much an open thing. There have been lots of very good albums, but there haven't been so many that have blown my mind. And there's usually that one album that's come out by now. Like last year, it was the Unleash the Archers record for me. The year before, it was Tesseract. The year before that was the Persephone album, which came out super early. I think that was like a January or February release, and that was my album of the year for 2022. 2021, it was Yosen, I think, and a bunch. I can't remember the month that was released. I think it was maybe spring or summer. Can't remember, but that was, once I'd heard that, I was pretty confident that was probably going to be album of the year. Year before that, Emma Ruth Runteril and Val. I feel like that was probably the last year where it was quite an open-ended one. 2020. That was the last year my album of the year was decided very late. So I think this year's the first year in a few years. Basically, what I'm saying is it's the first year of a few years where I still haven't quite. I feel like I'm not set on that album where I normally would be, even by October. But it's still 2/3 of this month to go. Still November and early December too. I usually do my list sort of early-ish December, mid-December, maybe latest. So yeah, year-end content to come to. Obviously, that's my favorite time of year on the channel and in this whole community. I really like the year-end lists people do, and it's an opportunity to discover stuff you've missed. So as much as I try to listen to as many albums as possible, it's impossible to listen to everything. And I miss a lot of records, and some records which I even mean to actually check out before the end of the year, but I just don't check them out. It's like, I could have had those on my list. And I think 2023 is the year where I strongly regretted a lot of albums being missed off my list, and I still regret that. But my album of the year for 2023 would not change. I feel like Tesseract would still be my album of the year for that year. It's just the rest of that list would be totally different, I think, to what it was when I did that list in 2023. The one thing that stayed the same would definitely stay the same is though Tesseract would still be my number one. That War of Being record, I still listen to a lot. It's just awesome. Awesome record. So shall we get on with this? The Desert Island Discs. Got no one in the chat so far, so I'll crack on with Desert Island Discs. Just have another swig of Diet Coke. Alrighty. So I've chosen 5 albums which I think represent my quite varied taste in music, at least the different styles I like. Because I didn't want to have all stuff which was hard and metal. I didn't want to take 5 death metal records to a desert island because, you might not necessarily always want to be pummeled. Your eardrums getting a pummeling all the time. If you love death metal, you probably would want that. But I love death metal, but not all the time. I kind of want a bit of variety if I'm going to be stranded for the rest of my life on a desert island. So I've picked one hard and heavy record. I say that, maybe 2, but one more classic heavy metal kind of an album here. Then I've gone for a slightly more soft kind of rock post-punk album, which is quite atmospheric, a little bit more chill. So, there might be moments I want something more chill. Then a prog rock record, which is also very chill, and a 5th choice. So actually, 2 of these albums are hard and aggressive. The other 3 are fairly laid back and relaxed. And I feel like it's a good mixture. I think, you want stuff which you can replay a ton, because you're going to have to listen to this for maybe the rest of your days, unless you're rescued, which would be great. Then you can have more than 5 albums at your disposal, as you usually would if you weren't stranded on a desert island. Okay, so let's start with my first choice, which is Death and Human. Okay. Great album. This is the death metal choice. This is the really kind of heavy choice. I just think of all the death albums, for me, it's very memorable. Lots of great riffs from Chuck on here. It is kind of an album which I tend to go to for the riffs, maybe, but his vocal delivery is great as well. Actually, sort of the growls are really good here. I think those sort of anguish growls, lack of comprehension, awesome. I always love. I think Vacant Planets is a great song. Is that a deeper cut? That's a really good one. Suicide Machine, yeah, love Suicide Machine. What a great one. Now, the next choice for my Desert Island Disc number 2 is unsurprising. I mean, if you watched, I think my favorite albums of all time list, I think this would have been on there for definite. Seventh Son of a Seventh Son by Iron Maiden. Just a very kind of a fun record, but also, you know, lots of the sort of uplifting Iron Maiden kind of anthems here. They're really uplifting songs. I could have picked a number of Iron Maiden records that have a similar effect, but with this one, I feel it's particularly kind of adrenaline fueled, if that makes sense. There's some really great, really like just all the elements and the synth and the atmosphere of Maiden that is my kind of sound, I guess, of Maiden that I love. I've always loved the most. I love the sort of late 80s, Summer in Time, Seventh Son era. So yeah, Seventh Son of the Seventh Son would be my number 2, Desert Island Disc. Amazing album, that one for me. It's one of my all-time favourites. Desert Island Disc number 3 is the post-punk choice. It's the Chameleons, Script of the Bridge. Again, actually, I have mentioned this on the channel once or twice. I think particularly for the post-punk albums video from last year. And in truth, maybe I shouldn't choose this because I haven't known it for that long. It came out in '83, but I only discovered this probably last year because of the Lisa Frankenstein film, which is kind of crazy, really. I should have discovered this album years ago. It is one of the most, apparently one of the most loved post-punk albums of the post-punk era, or the sort of first kind of era of it. And it's just amazing. Like this album is sort of, you know, it's a couple of listens because I only knew Up the Down Escalator. But the more I listened to this album, the more I realized, you know, how much it was grabbing me and how much it's sort of eerie atmosphere. Some people say it's a little bit of a progenitor of shoegaze, you know, a little bit of a predecessor of shoegaze. I would say there's something to be said about that. I certainly think they've got, you know, the sort of reverb effects going on a lot in a lot of their albums that give them that really sort of floaty feel, the songs. I love Second Skin. I love Up the Down Escalator, as I've already said. Oh man, every track on this album is pretty much fantastic, really. Thursday's Child. Love the last song, actually, View from a Hill. Monkeyland's a great one on here too. Yeah, really, really amazing album that I think I could listen to time and again, as I have been doing since last year, really. I've just been listening to it time and again. I thought it would make a good Desert Island Disc, even though I've not known it for super long. My next choice I have known for super long, and it's not actually my favourite Pink Floyd album, but in the context of a desert island where I'm left with a Pink Floyd album for an indefinite amount of time, I feel like I need to rely on an album which really, you know, sort of affects me in the right kind of way. Because Wish You Were Here, which is my all-time favourite Pink Floyd record, I love that record, but would it have the replay value that this choice does? I'm not sure, because I think this album is so replayable. It's Division Bell, their 14th studio album, minus Mr. Waters, of course. But I love this album. It's always kind of had that emotional impact on me as well, ever since I first heard it. So, it felt like a natural choice for me, this Desert Island Disc. So that's choice number 4. So yeah, it's just a recap. Those of you that may or may not be watching so far, Desert Island Disc number 1, Death Human. Got to have a hard-hitting choice in there for me. Got to represent my taste in music, and it's that I may need something that's different from the other records, or sort of a bit of variety. Choice number 2 was the Chameleons, Script of the Bridge. Choice number 3, Pink Floyd, Division Bell. So now we move on to... Oh, sorry, I missed out Iron Maiden, didn't I? Start again. Let's just start again. Ah, dear. It's been a long week. All right, Death Human, my first Desert Island Disc. Iron Maiden, Seventh Son of a Seventh Son, second Desert Island Disc. Chameleons, Script of the Bridge, third Desert Island Disc. Fourth Desert Island Disc, Pink Floyd, Division Bell. Here we go. Fifth Desert Island Disc is this one, which I can remember a couple of my subscribers sort of saying how much they loved this record since I did it on one of my year-end lists a while back. I think it must have been the 2021 because it came out in 2020, of course. And it's I Break Horses and Warnings, a favourite of mine, one that I always mention sort of ad nauseum on this channel. I feel like I've brought it up so many times, people must be fed up with me mentioning it. But it usually gets people listening to it, and they seem to enjoy it. It is a Swedish musician called Maria Linden behind this music, and she does very ethereal synthscapes and sort of dreamy music, a little like shoegaze and dream pop basically, but very electronic, this record. The previous albums were also, I think she kind of did an electronic dance record in 2014, and that was really good. And I Break Horses also did, so this is the band I Break Horses. The album's called Warnings, by the way, if I didn't say that. And they also did an album called Hearts, I think, in 2011, which is great too. But this one particularly, I kind of always tend to go back to for replays, revisits. Really, really just nice, kind of peaceful, blissful, late night drive kind of record, which I feel like on a desert island would work quite well. Maybe if you're lying on the sands of a beach, watching or looking at the moon in the night sky and all the stars around it, hearing Maria Linton's voice would go well with that. I mean, it goes well with pretty much anything. It's silky, kind of smooth, beautiful sounding voice. With great synthscapes, and that's my thing. It's just my thing. I love the sound of synth and the sound of a lot of electronic music. Certainly the kind of more retro kind of electronic music, I guess. Modern stuff I'm kind of getting into a bit more, but particularly love the kind of stuff that's on here, I think. And a lot of great songs. Turn, the opener is good. It's a little bit long. A couple of tracks on here could have been trimmed a little bit, I think, but it doesn't affect my enjoyment personally. Silence is a great song. The Prophet and Neon Lights, middle tracks. Baby, you have traveled for miles without love in your eyes. That's almost anthemic. That's a wonderful song. Death Engine, awesome song. I think there was a video for that one that I Break Horses did as well. Yeah, it's front to back, a very, very haunting record. I highly recommend if you've not listened to this, because I mean I've shouted it out a million times, right? But that would also be a Desert Island Disc. And that's my final choice. I have been buying a few other CDs actually recently, adding to my collection. Showed a couple of them off on my community page, I think. I got the alternate version of the new Deftones album pretty recently, but not the green version, the different color. So I decided to not go with green as the Green Man. Maybe that's a bit strange. It's criminal. I went with this instead. I also bought British pop queen Sophie Ellis-Bextor and her latest album Perimenopop, which, as you can see, it's still in it's very new, this. So I only bought this the other day, I think, and so it's still got kind of its stickers. It's apparently a deluxe edition. I look forward to listening to this. Actually, I might save it for a car trip. You know, sometimes with albums you want to save them for like something in particular. I find that's kind of my music listening habit. Sometimes I kind of like to save them up, sometimes not listen to them too much, so I don't want to get fed up with them too soon. I also bought this one, which I just heard it, and it was one of the options I put in for Dark Horse Discs if we do a pop punk episode, which I think we're going to do at some point in the future now. Paramore's debut album was voted, got the most votes. I chose Boxcar Racer. Personally, would be one of my picks. I think it is a Dark Horse record, because this was sort of the Blink-182 side project. They only did one album. There are some really good songs on this. I mean, at least it makes me feel nostalgic listening to this, because I really liked this record. I remember enjoying it, and finally have bought it on CD. And of course, I bought this as well and posted this one up, a picture of this on the community page. Paramore Self-Titled. Really good album. A couple of the songs reminds me a bit of Blondie, actually, on this one. Like Daydreaming. That was kind of Blondie-esque. But really like this record, actually. It's fast becoming a Paramore favourite for me. I kind of mean to check out the next album, because it's kind of synth pop-like. So, me loving synth pop, got to check that out. We have got Rock of All Ages in the chat. Rocco, how are you doing? Hello. What else do I like on this? I think Last Hope is brilliant. I think that's amazing. Proof is a good one. Be Alone towards the end. Really like that one. Oh, and it's pretty front-loaded with some really good stuff, actually. Fast in My Car, Now, Grow Up, Daydreaming, all really good. So, yeah, I felt a temptation to this one, because I was getting the Revocation, which I don't actually seem to have on me, but I was getting the Revocation. I wanted to get that anyway. I was like, you know what? I'm getting into Paramore at the moment. I'll get a Paramore album. I'll spend some more money. Why not? So, yeah, been spending quite a bit recently. And Paramore. They did do a record a couple of years ago, didn't they, as well? I don't know why that didn't really hit me so much, but I kind of want to go back to it, because I didn't give it a chance. I didn't give them a proper chance with that record. I think it was Why So or something like that. One of the best live bands out there. I haven't seen them live, actually, I don't think. So, yeah, I'm sure they're great live. I'm sure they're great. I've been listening to lots of Charlie XCX. Just it's sort of gradually, her music is, there's some of her stuff that I really like, where she goes more, I feel like more traditional. I think like she's kind of does her voice modulation stuff, which isn't for some people, is for others. At times, I wonder whether she always needs to use those effects, because I think she's got quite a good singing voice when I can hear her voice, like that more natural voice. But not that I'm against that as such, because I've listened to more and more of that kind of modern sound over time, and I've kind of just gotten used to it, really. So I don't mind it. I think Sympathy is a Knife. Sympathy is a Knife is a really good song. I was listening to that earlier on. Brat, kind of getting more into Brat now, getting more into it than I was last year. I kind of listened to it a couple of times last year, but it didn't sink in. And then I listened to Crash, and I loved Crash. I really liked a lot of that, although I think it was the first half of the album I liked more. And I noticed she collabed with Christine and the Queens, and Lord as well. She collabed with Lord. What was the other? Yes, so I listened to the one that Rocco you suggested, I think. True Romance. I thought that was awesome, actually. I really enjoyed that one too. I think I'm enjoying the albums I'm not supposed to enjoy. Like the Fantano ones, I'm still getting into. The ones that Fantano loves, I'm still getting into those. I want to listen to her 2021 because apparently that's really good. The sort of one where she's lying on her bed. Yes, the Girl So Confusing remix. I like that. Yeah, I thought that was good. She basically disowned everything she made before 2016. Yeah, she's a good singer, but use of auto-tune does bother me a bit. Yeah. What I want to get is your chat messages appearing on my screen, but I've got to pay a fair bit of extra money to do that. So I might do that at some stage. So when I do live streams to make it more worthwhile, but probably wait till I get more subs and then maybe do that at some point in the future. But so then you can see your messages appear on my screen, so then everyone else can see them. So they don't think I'm just kind of like talking to no one. Yeah, she basically said, yeah, I think, was it Sucker or something? Another record she did early on. So yeah, I'm quite enjoying it. I feel like she's certainly, her music is gradually nestling in my head. It's gradually nestling in my head. I was thinking, who else have I been checking out that's modern, more of a modern pop artists? So it's not just Charli XCX. I've been going more retro recently for my video for my top 10 pop albums of all time. So I've been listening to quite a lot of retro stuff as well, particularly from the sort of late 90s and early 2000s era. Yeah, Pet Shop Boys. I've always liked them. I don't know their discography as well as I should, to be honest, but that debut record is one I've always liked. I've always liked it. It's always had a special place. Yeah. Also, so you would have seen on the thumbnail, because obviously those were the giveaways, so the teasers. Lady Gaga, the fame. Yeah, West End Girls was a big hit. That was a big hit. Yeah, great song. Suburbia is the other single that I love from that record. But I think there's a particular version of it that I love more. That may have been a remastered album where they did it and I didn't like it as much. But I think it's the original version of Suburbia that I really enjoy. So it's kind of got a longer build up, and then it goes into the sort of keyboard melody. But yeah, Lady Gaga's The Fame is on that list. I'm not obviously going to reveal where they are, so I don't want to spoil it completely. But yeah, Lady Gaga's on there. To be honest, that first album's the only one of hers that I really particularly enjoy. Yeah, I have heard of Magdalena Bay. I liked that album, actually. That was last year, wasn't it? It didn't make my year-end list, though, for some reason. I don't know why. Maybe I just forgot. But I do like. I did like what I heard. I did like what I heard. Kind of interesting, like slightly. Seeing them later this month, like yeah. Oh, that'll be good. I'm sure. Like, there was a lot of nuance in their music for sure. It like took me a few listens to start to get into that one, but that was good. That was very good. So yeah, I think you'll enjoy them live, I'm sure. But I haven't listened to anything else other than that record from last year. So yeah, it's just too much music to check out. The more you kind of do the YouTube channel thing, the more your music expands that you got to listen to. You're like, got to listen to all this stuff. First album. Oh, so maybe does that mean they got 2 albums? I will check out their first album. Yeah, I will check out their first album. That'll be fun. Now I'm just trying to think of who else I've been listening to. I guess Sophie Ellis-Bextor quite a bit. So she released her new album, which I revealed probably just before you joined, Rocco, which is Perimeno Pop. I've been discovering lots of her old stuff as well, and she has some really great older records too that I've missed out completely. I've slept on them basically because I only ever listened to her first album when she was getting radio play in the UK, and then she kind of went quiet because people just really weren't listening to her stuff, I guess. So I kind of forgot about her, and then she got big again because of the Saltburn film. So I checked out her most recent album, partly because of that, but also I was curious just to see how she sounds now. And then I realized I missed about 5 or 6 albums from this singer, and they're all like pretty awesome records. It's just so I've like, oh, I've slept on all these albums from her. That's a shame, but better late than never. With music, it's always better late than never. If you discover something that you love and it's a bit late, then you maybe could have discovered it. So be it. Yeah, it's kind of strange, isn't it? Yeah, what crosses over from the UK? There is an example of so I can't talk about it because it's on my top 10 pop albums list. But I was going to talk about an example of that where there was an album on there that was successful in the UK but not successful in America. So I was going to talk. I was going to mention that album now, but I'll hold fire because that's on Tuesday's videos. So yeah, I won't talk about that just yet. But yeah, that is interesting. What breaks through in the UK versus the US? I guess it's sort of now it's different from what it used to be too because of the internet. Like Sophie Ellis-Bextor, her breakthrough was because of a film, really. Or at least, you know, she's gotten a bit more attention, I think, in the US now because of that film, it seems. That's what I've read anyway. I don't feel like she's still very well known outside of the UK, particularly, but there's been a little bit of a change. So she might now. Murder on the Dance Floor was her biggest hit, basically, I think. She did do a collaboration with someone that was a big hit. Yes. So that's yes. There was a cover of Murder on the Dance Floor that got big in the US last year. So that's her biggest hit, basically. But like I say, it's amazing. You discover some artists that you've basically slept on, and you've only heard a single from them. And you basically decided, oh, that's enough for me. And then you realise they've got this whole other body of work, and you think to yourself, why have I missed out all this great stuff from her? You know, she's really good. Like her music is like some genuinely. I think she sort of co-writes stuff, so she has a team of people that write music with her. As it's a setup with a lot of pop music, but they're obviously good at what they write because a lot of these albums are really good. I'm looking forward to my Dark Horse Pop Queen pick as well. Like I know yours, Rock. I won't say what yours is because I want it to be a surprise when it's revealed. But I'm looking forward to revealing mine. Really looking forward to it because I think it is quite an interesting choice. It's not Sophie Ellis-Bextor. I could easily choose Sophie Ellis-Bextor, but I thought that was too much of an easy choice for me. I wanted to push myself a bit because I felt that was too easy a choice to choose one of her albums. Yeah, absolutely. Recommend away. I'm sort of in a pop phase since I've kind of been doing this video, so absolutely recommend one. Fabiana Palladino. I'll have to check that out. Fabiana Palladino. Might just look her up. Apologies, everyone, whilst I look up who this is on my phone. Okay, so she's an English songwriter and instrumentalist. She began her career uploading demos to MySpace. Wow. This is kind of she must be my sort of generation. And yeah, she's 38. Just trying to find out a bit more here. How many records does she have? Okay, so she's pops. So we're just reading off Wikipedia, which isn't very imaginative, but we got pop, synth pop, sophisti pop, R&B, funk, soul pop. I mean, that mostly sounds like stuff I'd enjoy for sure. Oh, she has one album and she has an EP from 2011 and a self-titled record called Fabiana. Yeah, Fabiana Palladino. Self-titles. Right. I will check that out. Maybe after this. Cool. Just think, how long have I been live? About 40 minutes. I think I have a time limit of an hour, so I'll keep going a little bit longer, but I think we've almost covered everything. So earlier I've covered what's coming up on my channel, Dark Horse Disc content, album reviews. Obviously, I'd like to get around to Testament, but that won't be till probably later in the week because I've got a packed day tomorrow. Hopefully reviewing new Xanius, new Hatchie, which are non-metal picks that I've been looking forward to in the late part of the year. So got those to look forward to. Obviously got the Dark Horse Disc Christmas special, the Pop Queen's Dark Horse episode I've mentioned already. Top 10 metalcore albums I don't think I've mentioned. So I do want to try and fit in the top 10 metalcore albums before the end of the year. That will probably be November. But that was an episode or a video I've mentioned a while back that I wanted to do. Still haven't quite finished it. I'm kind of changing my mind quite often with that one, with who's in that top 10 list. So, or the order of it as well. So, but I do want to do it. It is a video I'd quite like to do because there are actually a couple of interesting picks on that list that I've been enjoying going back to. So yeah, so we've got top 10 pop on Tuesday. Just another reminder, if I haven't mentioned that enough already, probably have. And then after that, we will get around to some more album reviews. Top 10 metalcore albums, probably November. Then obviously all the year-end stuff to enjoy. And I've revealed my Desert Island discs earlier, so I won't go through those again. They will be available on the live stream if you missed those. When the live stream obviously goes up on my channel. Hello, the Dreadful Minutes. Ahoy, how are you doing? Winter Eve album. Okay. I wonder what genre that is. Is that metal? Is it rock? Is it prog? Is it pop? Is it indie? All the kind of stuff I like. Division Bell is an interesting choice. Yeah, it is, isn't it? Yeah, I mean, I think it's just one of those albums I just click with. Yes, I mean, Dark Side of the Moon and The Wall were more layered albums with, the classic Waters input as well. And I totally get why most people would choose those. But for me personally, Division Bell is one of those albums I can replay a lot. And I find it easy to revisit and to listen to. So for a Desert Island context, it's just a nice one to have on. I think, I don't always think that having something as operatic and kind of epic as The Wall would, for me in that context where you need something you can rely on over and over again, I feel like the Division Bell album would just work in that kind of a setting, the Desert Island for me. Winter Eve is Death Doom in the vein of Paradise Lost. I'll probably enjoy it then. I like Death Doom. Winter Eve. I'm getting a warning. The stream will end in 15 minutes because I'd have to pay to extend it. Oh no, extend for free, it says, actually. Maybe I could extend it if we go. So I'm not intending to go too far beyond the hour anyway, so I'll probably finish at about the hour point anyway. So cool. Yeah, and Paradise Lost Later Stand was very good as well, actually. I didn't review that. I didn't review it, to be honest. I was going to, and then I decided, actually, I'm not sure I have much to sort of... With reviews, I kind of want to have something that is something interesting to say, or at least something I feel is going to be worth saying. I couldn't think of anything unique or particularly interesting to say about that hadn't already been said about the Paradise Lost record. Very good album, very kind of some really great stuff on there. But anyway, I'm sure I like Winter Eve. Thank you for the recommendation, The Dreadful Minutes. I will check out Winter Eve now. So I've got Winter Eve and Fabiana. What was her last name? I have to look up through Rocco's messages. Fabiana Palladino. I wonder how that would sound back to back with Winter Eve. Jumping around the genres at the moment, I'm jumping around things. It's been quite bizarre having some of the things I queue up to listen. 1 minute I'm listening to, I don't know, Charlie XCX. Next minute I'm listening to Revocation. So it's good. Variety is the spice of life, as they say. Variety is the spice of life. I should mention, actually, although this isn't really the space now, I've separated my horror channel out from the Green Man. Got a new horror channel going, and do have some videos planned before the end of the year on there as well. It's been quite slow. I haven't been posting a lot of stuff to that channel, to be honest. The focus has mostly been on the Green Man lately, but do have some cool videos planned, mostly franchise rankings. So ranking all the films from a particularly big horror franchise is the name of the game there. I will be doing Halloween next. Obviously, that's slightly deliberate because it's Halloween and it's a bit predictable to do a Halloween ranking around Halloween, I guess, but that is the plan. I have watched my way through 6 of the films now, I think. So there's about 13, I think, 12 or 13 of them. So you got the original trilogy, right? With Season of the Witch is number 3, isn't it? So then I got 4 and 5 and 6. You got the 2 Rob Zombie films, right? Then you got H2O. What else? You got Resurrection. That's not a very good one. Not that I want to give away where I'm going to rank that. The new trilogy, which gets kind of mixed opinions. I have my own opinions, so I won't reveal what my opinions are on the new trilogy yet. So yeah, all of that will be on the Tom's Tomb of Horror channel. So if you're not subbed to Tom's Tomb of Horror channel and you missed my horror content from when it was on the Green Man, drop a sub to Tom's Tomb of Horror. Gradually building that up. I only got I think 7 or 8 subs on there at the moment, but we've got so far got a Friday the 13th ranking on there, a Nightmare on Elm Street ranking. So logically, it has to be Halloween next, particularly around Halloween season. So then after that, I've got a couple of other franchises lined up. Underworld. Those of you remember Underworld, it was kind of a werewolves and vampires film series. A little bit of a guilty pleasure kind of series, that one for me. But I quite enjoy it. I'm going to do a ranking of that after Halloween at some point. And Saw. I have ranked the Saw films before, but I kind of want to do it again on my new channel. So I will be doing that too. And I know Saw films are kind of very divisive because they're particularly brutal and not for everyone. But yeah, I'm looking forward to ranking those films at some point after the Underworld. So Halloween, Underworld, and Saw on Tom's Tomb of Horror. But let's get back to the Green Man. So that's my target for year end for Tom's Tomb of Horror, is certainly to get the Halloween ranking done at least, possibly Underworld. I don't know if I'll do Saw until the new year, but obviously got the year end lists on both channels. So year end list for my albums of the year for the Green Man, And then I'll do my horror films of the year on Tom's Doom of Horror. I'll do a top 10 list probably at the end of 2025. So yeah, Dreadful Minutes. I like your various tastes in genres. You're definitely not a one kind of note channel. Oh, thanks. Thanks. That's good of you to say. Yeah, I don't think I could just be one. Like for me, I find it hard to contemplate just listening to one genre constantly. I'm not the kind of. I just feel like if I just say listen to thrash metal all the time, I think I would just get bored quite quickly. Even though there's lots of great thrash metal albums and there's a ton of there's some variety within thrash even, but you know what I mean. It's something like there are certain genres where you have to be in a mood for them as well. And if you're not in the mood to listen to a particular genre, then you want something else as an option, don't you? You don't want to stick yourself in that, get stuck on it too much. I know there are people that have their favorite genre and will just listen to that genre. I don't see a problem with that at all. If that's what their thing is, if that's what their gets them up in the morning, so to speak, then I understand that. But yeah, I kind of need some variety. I feel like I do a lot of commuting and traveling around for work, so I need variety just to sort of make that soundtrack a bit more interesting and not too monotonous all the time listening to the same thing. Yeah, definitely not one for one genre for sure. I know that other channels actually, like Rocco in the chat and Hector Children on the Couch, he's also someone that likes to lean into pop sometimes and indie stuff and shoegaze and dream pop, all that kind of shtick. Anyway, I think that kind of we're getting towards the end of this, and I don't have too much more to add beyond, I've kind of done the content spiel. I've spoken about the Desert Island Discs, and it's been great to have a couple of people join the chat. So I think we're drawing to a natural close here, guys. Thanks very much for joining me. I can't wait to, for the pop video to go up and to premiere on Tuesday. That was, as I say, a very interesting, some revisiting albums. Some of those albums, I'll be honest, I hadn't revisited for years even, but revisiting them brought a particular kind of like memory or response that meant I felt like those are definitely albums that feel like they deserve a spot on my list. Yeah, see you later, man. Anyway, guys, I think we're going to draw things to a natural close here in the stream. So yeah, if you're new to the Green Man or to Tom's Doom of Horror, but particularly the Green Man, because this is the stream on this channel, do drop a sub and everything or a like. Yeah, don't be a stranger. Hope you've got great weeks coming up. And yeah, till next time, from me as always, bye for now.